Veer Sarvarkar was released from internment in Ratnagiri in 1937. He was free to participate in politics in 1937. That's when he stepped into politics. Otherwise, 14 years he was in rigorous imprisonment. 13 years he was in Ratnagiri, where he was disallowed from participating in political activity. Correct? So, Veer Sarvarkar had a choice. He could have joined Congress also. Subhash Chandra Bose, Achyut Rao Patwardhan, S.M. Joshi, such Congress leaders who were considered to be the leaders of the socialist bloc, they wanted Sarvarkar with them in the Congress party. But Sarvarkar refused. Sarvarkar said, Congress has gone so far ahead on the path of Muslim appeasement that it cannot retrace its steps. And to do Muslim appeasement in this country, in Bharatvarsha, at the cost of Hindu rights, is betrayal of the nation. And that time he issued a statement. It is better to stand in the last row of patriots than the first row of those who are indulging in Muslim appeasement at the cost of Hindu rights, which he called betrayal of the nation.
Okay.
Correct? So, how was the situation? I will tell you. Veer Sarvarkar was the first to see that this idea called Pakistan is taking shape. In 1930, Muhammad Iqbal, whose poetries our poets, recite without knowing that he wrote Sare Jahan Se Achha when he was a nationalist. Later on, he became a pan-Islamist. Correct. In 1930, when he had become a pan-Islamist, in the Lahore session of Indian Muslim League, he was a member of Indian Muslim League. He for the first time predicted that I see a separate nation for Indian Muslims in Sindh, Punjab, comprising Sindh, Punjab, Northwest Frontier Province and Baluchistan.
Okay.
Precisely today's Pakistan. Correct?
Yeah.
Correct. Then 2 years later, a Muslim called Rahmat Ali Chaudhry, he was from Jalandhar, he was a Gujjar Muslim, he was studying in Oxford. He coined the word Pakistan for this future Muslim homeland. And it was Jinnah who gave it shape.
Okay.
Correct? In 1936, Sindh was suddenly detached from Mumbai province. It was part of Mumbai state, old Mumbai state. And Sarvarkar was the first to see that things are moving in the direction of partition. And he called the detachment of Sindh by the British government at that time as a Muslim Anglo conspiracy.
Okay.
So Sarvarkar was first to see the danger of Pakistan. Pakistan word was there.
Correct.
From 1932 onwards, but nobody took it seriously. It was only Sarvarkar who took it seriously.
Okay. Correct.
And therefore, he chose to join Hindu Mahasabha, a party which was dubbed as communal, but whose main job was to protect Hindu interest, because Congress was sacrificing Hindu interest for its Muslim appeasement. Basically, Congress model was Hindu-Muslim unity at Hindu cost. That was the Congress model. Correct?
Yes.
Sarvarkar, he launched a campaign to awaken the nation against the dangers of Muslim appeasement, and he was repeatedly hinting and later on saying openly that Pakistan can be a reality.
Okay.
So he was telling Congress leaders on one hand, and he was telling the people of the nation on the other hand. Correct? And what steps did he take? I'll tell you. In 1938, he saw that the number of Hindus in the then British Indian Army are much less as compared to Muslims in terms of their population ratio. And he had seen that Pakistan can happen in future. And if that day India is weaker than Pakistan in military terms, then India will have to pay further price.
Further price.
So he started a campaign for the militarization of Hindus. Correct? Which is what it did. Hindu Sabha started a campaign, and in the meantime, Second World War started.
Correct.
So, Britishers were in need of soldiers. Sarvarkar said that you see this as a great opportunity to join the army and learn arms, take arms training. Correct. He said once the gun is in your hands, where to turn the barrel is in your hands, you know. So he started this campaign, and see the effect of this campaign. From between 1939 and 1944, Muslim League or their leaders issued 4 warnings, 4 statements are there on record, saying that this Hindus entering this, recruiting in such large numbers in the army is very dangerous for us, because they knew that they will get Pakistan. So they knew the game. Only Congress was unaware.
Okay.
You get my point? So now what was the effect of this militarization campaign? Just imagine, had India been weaker at the time of independence, militarily, as compared to Pakistan, they took away Kashmir, a part of Kashmir.
Correct.
They were sharing border in Rajasthan, Gujarat, in Bengal. They could have attacked those territories also, had they been stronger than India militarily at the time of partition. So Savarkar's that drive really helped India post-partition also.
Okay.
That's a great contribution. Apart from that, Savarkar, as I told you, was warning the nation and Congress against the Muslim appeasement policy, which he said can lead to partition. In 1940, when Jinnah passed the Pakistan resolution on 23rd March, leaders of the Congress, including Mahatma Gandhi and Jawaharlal Nehru, said that Pakistan will happen on our dead bodies.
Correct.
Savarkar said, you are wrong. You are taking the nation in that direction through your policies. It can happen. And Savarkar was proved correct 7 years later. In 1944, he called the Akhand Hindustan Conference in Delhi to oppose the Muslim appeasement policies of Congress and to build pressure on the Congress, public pressure on the Congress, not to yield to Muslim demands, which he thought would lead to partition. Because Pakistan resolution had already been passed in 1940.
Correct.
So it was in public domain. Correct? And who were the leaders who participated in that conference? Intellectuals. Correct? Radha Kumud Mukherjee, the most respected historian of that time. Srinivas Sastry, another intellectual from the south. Ramanand Chatterjee, editor of Modern Review, the India Today of that time.
Oh.
Such were the people who participated in the Akhand Hindustan Conference. So, what I am saying is, he did his best to prevent partition. Now, why he lost? Correct. You see, Pakistan was granted within 15 days of of Jinnah making this demand. Jinnah passed his resolution on 23rd March 1940. On 6th April 1940, within 15 days, Mahatma Gandhi wrote an article in, I think, Harijan or Young Leader, one of the two organs of Congress, you know. He opposed partition, but his reasons were different. He would say that it will harm Hindu-Muslim unity. He was obsessed with Hindu-Muslim unity at any cost, as I told you earlier, correct?
Correct.
In the end, he writes, if 8 crore Muslims don't want to live in India, how can I prevent them? So he had granted partition within 15 days. You get my point?
Correct, sir. Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Now, how flawed this strategy was. The day Muslim League make this demand, Pakistan, there are many Muslim leaders in the country who are opposing the idea. Sikandar Ayat Khan, Fazlul Haq, who later on went on to join Muslim League. All these people were opposing partition for various reasons. Correct? So what Congress should have done? Congress should have formed an anti-Pakistan front. What Congress should have done? It should have made an anti-Pakistan front of leaders comprising Congress, Hindu Mahasabha, and those Muslim leaders who are opposing partition. Instead, Congress chose to deal with Jinnah only. As a result, Jinnah's stature started going up, and proportionally the stature of other leaders who had opposed partition started coming down. In order to save their career, then in the end they had to join Jinnah only.
Okay.
Why he failed? Yeah, I'll come to that. Correct. Now, a stage came when this Hindu Mahasabha campaign under leadership of Savarkar started creating waves in the country. And people started thinking that Congress is taking us on the wrong path. In the meantime, Central Assembly elections were announced. Provincial Assembly elections were announced. by British. The last two elections before partition, correct? The Congress got scared. And then Congress, as part of its dirty strategy, Congress had in 1942 passed a resolution saying same thing as what Gandhiji said 2 years earlier, that provinces will have a right to self-determination after British leave India.
Okay.
Again granting partition, almost, correct?
Granting
Correct.
partition, that's it.
Against that, when they saw that they might lose the election or they might not do so well in the elections, they changed the tune and they said that we are also for Akhand Hindustan. Correct? Savarkar kept on warning the nation and the people of this country that look here, Congress is taking you for a ride. The moment the elections are over, Congress will again start kneeling before Muslim League and grant Pakistan. And same thing happened. But what happened? Because Congress hijacked the Akhand Hindustan slogan of Savarkar, because Congress was a much bigger party than Hindu Mahasabha. It had a leader called Mahatma Gandhi who had a great standing in those days,
Okay.
Plus they used Sardar Patel also in that
Okay, correct.
for some rebel rousing. Correct? The Hindu Mahasabha was totally defeated in that election. It could not win a single seat, though the total number of votes it got was 16%.